Welcome back to Dan Plus Water, everybody. My name is Dan. I just looked at the site here a couple days ago and realized it had been just about a year since I posted a video. I apologize for that. I have a lot of video starts, but unfortunately I haven't been able to get any finishes out of any of them. But this one is going to be a short, quick one. We're going to learn how to change an alternator on my truck. This was due to an unfortunate event as I was hauling a camper and leaving my house from the Lansing area and heading up to the northern part of the mitten. So stick around and I'll take you step by step. What we have here is a 2016 Chevrolet Colorado with a 3.6 liter V6 engine. General Motors states that this is a second generation Colorado. So the second generation entitles years 2015 all the way to 2022. So they said any of those Colorados with the 3.6 liter V6 should all be able to disassemble and reassemble, getting to your alternator in the same way. Let's jump into it. Tools that you're going to want to have on hand for this project. It might be a good idea to keep them in your vehicle for further use. A 7 to 19 millimeter 3/8 socket set, 3/8 ratchet, a 6-inch extension for your 3/8 ratchet, small flat bladed screwdriver, and you can use either a 1/2-inch wrench, or not wrench, excuse me, a ratchet, or a 1/2-inch breaker bar. Either one will work, and that's what you're going to use for the idler pulley. So the first thing you're going to want to do is open the hood to your vehicle, and then taking a 10 millimeter socket, you're going to want to unhook the negative post from your battery. Lay the cable back somewhere where it's not going to come in contact with the battery post. This is very important so you don't create spark and arc later on. After you have disconnected your negative battery post, you're going to come over here to the air filter box cover. Using your flat blade screwdriver, you're going to take out the 4 screws. Carefully disconnect this connector by sliding the red piece out, pressing down, pulling the connector away, and then backing off the worm gear. Once you have taken the airbox cleaner cover off, we will move on to the engine cover itself. There is one, it's a star bit, but I used a flat bladed screwdriver. Then you want to make sure you take your oil cap off, set it someplace where you won't lose it. Down in here, there is also an 8 millimeter bolt. It does have an insert with it, so be very careful when you pull that out. Over there is another star bit, but again, I used a flat bladed screwdriver. Once you get those bolts out, the pipe that goes along the back just sits in that hose holder down there, and you can pull that gently right out. Once you do that, take the whole hose and fold it right on back. Once you have all those screws and the bolt out, the hardest part to get to is underneath the cover itself. I want to try to zoom in here a little bit. There is another worm gear screw that goes to your throttle body. you have to remove that, and that is the last piece that holds this entire engine cover on, and you can take that right out of the vehicle. Alrighty, once you get the engine cover off, we move down to this guy right here. Take apart this connector. Again, small flat blade screwdriver in through there. It'll pop out the back side. This stays in place here. Then using the small flat blade screwdriver, working back and forth, top and bottom, you'll work this green clip back. It doesn't come off all the way, it just works back. That'll allow this pipe to slide off. And then you carefully bend everything back out of the way. Alright, once you get those connectors off, you're going to take a 10mm socket, remove this bolt, and then a 19mm socket, removing that bolt, and this piece comes off, set it to the side. Alright, once you got that piece removed, you will take your 1/2 inch socket wrench or 1/2 inch breaker bar, either one will work. Insert it into the tensioner idler pulley, and then you go from driver's side to passenger side, releasing tension on the drive belt. As you are releasing tension, you want to reach over and pull the belt off of the pulley. Once you have released tension and gotten the belt off of the alternator, I don't know if you can see it very well, but on the back side of the alternator is a 2-wire connector. I was able to get it off with my fingers. You may have to use a small flat bladed screwdriver. Be very careful to pull that out and not break the connector. Once you get that 2-wire connector off, there's going to be 3 15mm bolts, one on top, 2 underneath. I'll show you where those are once I get the alternator off. So now that the alternator is out of the truck, we can take a better look at it. This is how it sits in the vehicle. You'll be looking at it from the top down, sort of like this, with your top bolt, then the 2 bottom bolts that I was talking about. On the back side of the alternator, you'll also find your battery cable connection bolt, or excuse me, nut. This is a 13mm socket or 13mm wrench, and this is the 2-wire connector that turns, I believe it's called a rectifier. I'm not sure about that verbiage, but it's what turns the alternator on and off, power to here wise. Make sure you take this connector off before you start pulling all the bolts out. I was able to get it off with a small flat bladed screwdriver. When you go to put the new alternator back in, you want to start with the top bolt, then I went to this bolt here, and lastly this one, simply because it's open on the bottom and there was so much play, it was easy for me to line up. Alright, now that we got the alternator back in, I started with the top bolt, gently starting that by hand, moving to the forward bolt, starting that by hand, and then the rearward bolt, again starting those by hand. Once all of those were started, feel free to tighten each one of those up. Again, I went from top straight down and then back. I don't know if they make a difference on which one is priority to tighten first, but that's just the one I used, and I found it worked out perfectly. Once those are tightened, go ahead and rehook that 2-wire connector. Once you have got your belt back on, go ahead and put the other pieces on in the reverse order that they were taken off. Alrighty, now that you have all the parts put back, go ahead and reconnect your negative cable on the battery to start and test the vehicle. Hope this video helped you with changing out your alternator. Hopefully you're able to change it at your convenience, whether at a shop or in your own driveway or in a garage. Unfortunately, I was given no warning that mine was going to go out. About 3-4 miles from an exit, the light that came on said service, battery charging system soon, came on, started flashing. About a mile after that, the battery saver mode light came on. When that came on, I lost my radio, I lost my power steering, my truck kicked out of the tow haul mode, became very sluggish. I was limited to about 45 miles an hour. I figure I was running on just battery power alone at that point. I did manage to limp off the road and made it into the parking lot of a Mobil Gas station in Rosebush, where they basically were very nice people and told me I could take as long as I needed to get the parts and the tools up to me. While my father was bringing the tools and a new alternator, I surfed YouTube figuring out how to get my alternator changed. I spent 2 hours doing that, finding various videos, so I figure I turn all of that into just the one video here. Hopefully, like I said, that you never have to change it on the side of the road, but this video I hope helps you if you end up doing so. And hopefully the next video I have will be something related to water, whether I'm in it, boating on it, or swimming under it. Till then, stay tuned to Dan Plus Water and be ready for the next video. Hopefully not that long. Have a great one, everyone.